Good morning, everyone. So, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to this session on guardrails for GenAI from a cybersecurity perspective. Our speaker today is Mr. Chandan Pani, the Chief Information Security Officer from LTIMindtree. With over 20 years of experience in the industry and information security, Mr. Pani has extensively expertise in cybersecurity, AI, and risk management. So, today he will share his insights on the critical aspects of safeguarding generative AI technologies in various industries. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Chandan Pani.
Thank you, Sanskruti. Thank you for having me today this morning. So let me start with Namaskar to the Odia meeting then. And good morning, good evening, good afternoon to the rest of the audience. Okay. So let me share my screen first before we. Please confirm.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Thank you, sir. Now, what to think about machines that think? This is not the title of the slide, but it's a name of a famous book. Again, it is not a formal book about GenAI or AI. It is a collection of 500-word essays from different professors, different experts globally from different universities, organizations, and all that. I saw one prominent Indian there, Satyajit Das. I was just trying to understand what exactly is the meaning when you say what to think about machines that think. Now, if you see in a different context, different perspective, it is so true about AI and GenAI, where the machines are there in the process where they are thinking, they are trying to suggest us, they are in a way taking up some workload, what we used to do as human beings. Now, those who are interested probably can take a look at the book. It is compiled by an organization called edge.org. A lot of good inputs are there, not only from a technology point of view, from different point of view. Let's say what a biology professor thinks about GenAI or AI. What about a physicist? What about an economics professor and all that? So moving on from there, I want to share one all of you. 3rd or 4th of January 2023, I was in a large conference room in Mumbai, and the speaker was Satya Nadella. Would have introduced Satya. During the session, Satya went into his screen, and there was an application, and he asked this question. He tell me what is the favorite food of Mumbai? And the application started chatting with him, and the answer was vada pav. Then he asked follow-up question, and the session went on for 10, 15, 20 minutes. And Satya was there explaining whatever was happening there. And probably my co-audience who was there in that conference, they were trying to think, they are trying to understand what exactly happened there. But in my mind, something else was happening. So I was privy to the GPT. I was privy to some of the diffusion models earlier. So for me, it was the moment of realizing. For me, I was trying to process what is going to happen in the next 1 year, 1.5 years. What is going to happen in the next 2 years? I mean, that's so true. That feeling was so nostalgic today when I think. I mean, today, if you see, GenAI or AI is something for what everybody is talking. Now, let's put that into context and let's see how some of the technologies have disrupted globally and how much time they have taken. Now, I just want to give some examples. Some pictures are there. Now, if you see, there's a page there. Now, I'm not sure how many of you know this. Probably this paper took almost 1,000 years to travel from China to you. Just imagine 1,000 years. Internet took almost 3 to 4 years to get that first 100 million mark. Smartphones, pretty much similar number, to less than 2 years to reach that 100 million number. Cloud, I'm not sure how many of you know this. Today, cloud is almost in everybody's life. AWS, when they started cloud, they were giving it free of cost from 2006 to 2010. and probably they were not very sure how cloud is going to look like in future. So today you have Azure, today you have AWS, GCP, private cloud, public cloud, so on and so forth. Corona, all of us we know, probably less than 6 months, it disrupted the world. But somebody was more disruptive. That was ChatGPT. ChatGPT took less than probably 1 week. I think the official numbers are less than 5 days to hit that 100 million mark, or say 1 million mark. I mean, 5 days and million users. Probably that was the fastest technology reach out happened globally. People wanted to understand what exactly is ChatGPT, how exactly ChatGPT was working and all that. So today, ChatGPT has more than 200 million users globally. But what has happened in the process, I'm not sure how many of you realize this. Today, at least I can quote you the Indian context, which all of us will understand. We don't say photocopy, we say Xerox. Now, ChatGPT has done that work for GenAI. Today, we don't say LLM, we don't say generative AI, we say ChatGPT. Now, that's what the change ChatGPT did in the market in the last 2 years. That's how technology is disruptive today. And it is going to change probably next couple of years or a decade or so. Now, let's do a double click on GenAI, so the new buzzword. I mean, some of you who understand number, because I come from a corporate industry, for us, numbers are like everything. I mean, not exam outputs, but the revenue numbers, financial numbers, metric, how well we are doing and all that. So if you see some of these numbers, $100 billion value of OpenAI, which they crossed long ago. Their investments, I mean, today, there's no dearth of investment for OpenAI. OpenAI is the organization or the body they run GPTs of the world, right? The very famous Sam Altman and his team, they are the founder of GPT 3.5 and subsequently Chat. Now, a couple of the investment numbers are not big if I consider today what is happening. Now, OpenAI's revenues are all-time high. They recently did a deal with Apple. Probably that number is not disclosed, but that is going to be way too bigger than what we see in the most of the young generation, 25 to 34 years, people are there on ChatGPT or some of the similar solution. Interesting part is a lot of educational institutes are also using GPT kind of solutions. Now, I see a lot of my peer group, their kids, they are big time into ChatGPT, asking questions, maths, English, history. I mean, you name things, they're already there. Now, another most important aspect. See, we talk a lot about IT industry globally. So if you see IT industry in a different shape or form is based on coding, whether it was low-level coding, whether C++, object-oriented codings, then your Java, VB, then probably today we are talking about Golang and Python. A lot of coding that we consume today when it comes to the IT industry. Now, developer coders are probably the critical mass that they run the IT industry. Now, there is a disruption which is knocking the world. Now, people are talking about Codex, people are talking about GitHub Copilot, people are talking about Devin, people are talking about Indian version of Devika, Devin's Indian version is Devika, people are talking about Duet. So essentially, these are code generators. Now, if I can go and ask, I need a form to design, and can you write some code for me in Python? And I can give some kind of English description or the NLP description and see, okay, this is what I need. And if the code is right in front of me, then actually our developers are under threat. The entire education ecosystem of computer science is going to be. This is reality. How soon it is going to be? In fact, I was there in one of those conferences with GitHub where somebody asked this question: what's your view when it comes to developer? What is the definition of developer after 5 years? And GitHub made this statement very boldly. I don't think we will have any developers after 5 years. To support that, today, Elon Musk says 80% of their codes are generated on some of this platform. As recent as yesterday, I was with a couple of folks from Dell. Dell says 50% of their code are now generated on that. Now, if you see some of this traffic which is going to OpenAI from a network point of view, the comparison between United States and India is actually catching up. But if you see the other side, the white box with the black text, there is a recent study by EY, KPMG, McKinsey. A lot of these guys are saying if this is going to add $359 to $438 billion to India's revenue, and that is almost 5 to 7% of our GDP. So the point that we need to remember, we missed the internet revolution. I mean, when internet was going mainstream globally, India was tackling its own problem. Our economy was not open, our Indian colleges were not spending. We had that problem within the ecosystem. But today, now from here, India is in a good position to drive this GenAI usage or AI usage globally from India by the Indians. And probably we'll see more such conferences where we are going to discuss. So with that, let's move what exactly GenAI is going to do for us. Now, ChatGPT is not the only stuff that GenAI can do. It can do marketing content, so anything that we want to produce, right from your support, writing, note-taking, code generation, code documentation, image generation, social media, media advertising, voice synthesis, blah, 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 all that what you see on this slide. And if you see the last column, we are saying gaming, audio, video, 3D models. Probably we are tilting again towards Metaverse, which probably year and a half ago was very prominent. We never had the right ingredient, but I'm sure with all this coming together, this is going to be the next revolution. So I can give you a couple of use cases. I was talking to some of the participants day for yesterday or yesterday in the GenAI conference, and I found two use cases very interesting. Now, those who are today using Android phones, there is an option there to have liquid screensaver setting. I mean, whenever you pick the phone, you see a new picture. And the company who does it, they were telling me it was very difficult a couple of years because on an average, every user consumes 180 to 250 pictures per day. Just imagine the size of the Android users. And if half of them are there on this particular setting of seeing a new picture every time you unlock the screen, then the volume is going to be somewhere in billions. And thanks to GenAI today, they are using some of the different models to generate very unique picture based on the preference, based on the user profile for that particular user, and no manual intervention. Amazing, amazing use case. You just put the numbers all by yourself and the volume will be way too higher. Coming back to another use case, one of India's largest private sector bank, today their entire call center transcription happens using GPT 3.5. So some of you, those who know about call centers, I mean, when you call somebody in a call center, they start transcription. Basically, they start typing what you are saying, as a case note, as a ticket note, right? There are multiple ways that they capture that. Today, this particular bank, which all of us we know, and it is there in Odisha also in every street, every road, they are saying you don't do that. They simply use that audio pass through whisper is another LLM model, and they convert that audio to text. 30% reduction in their staffing, what they used to have here. Not only that, they take that text. Let's say the agent or the customer rep is promising you, I'll give you a call back tomorrow. Then this particular AI solution or GenAI solution takes that as an input, schedules a task, and assign it to the guy who is there on the next shift or next day. Just imagine the entire call center process is now automated. I mean, days are not far where the entire call center is going to be driven by some of these solutions. Amazing case study from India, where I see heavy usage of some of these models. I mean, the data analytics, the background analysis, research, all that is happening. But I'm saying how this is coming to mainstream. With all this usage, as I am from security, I'm a CISO or Chief Information Security Officer. My role is to talk about security. Now, whenever I talk to somebody, people are a little confused. Now, the general question is it safe to train the AI models? Are they even trustworthy? Can we secure the code snippets suggested by the GenAI? Are they safe? What happens to my data when I chat with ChatGPT? How to prevent misuse of PII, FPI, PHI? This is basically different personal data globally protected by different regulations we have. I mean, those who are not from this industry, there are various regulations are there globally to take care of the personal data misuse. I mean, very famous one is GDPR. In US, we have HIPAA. Then we have in California state, we have CCPA. There are multiple state regulations are there in every European country. India also is planning for a DPDP probably post-election. We see that coming into picture. And all that is happening. Now, how do you know that if your data is also consumed from base model training? Can we trust these models? Are there any privacy concerns? So people are, while the usage is going up, same time people are also confused. Is this really safe? And my answer to them is never ever till date, no technology we wanted to bake in security first. This is first time we wanted to have something which is safe, secure, trustworthy. Basically, there is a shift in human behavior. Those who are not aware, security is afterthought. I mean, why I'm saying this? Those who know the famous game cricket, helmet was invented much later than the groin guard. So you know where the focus is. That's how we take security also in the market, even till today also. I mean, if possible, we look at the mileage of a car, not the efficiency of braking for that particular car. We don't look at the stability of the car. We don't look at how safe is that car when you are negotiating a turn in a probably high speed. But what we focus, how comfortable they feel, how comfortable that music system is going, and all that. Now that's how we are trained. There's a law to use, let's say, helmets on the road, and we all know the answer. So security is always an afterthought, and that's a sad state. But with AI and GenAI, those things are changing. Now, is it really necessary to safeguard GenAI? It is absolutely necessary to safeguard. Why? Let's see. Couple of risks. So please remember, for GenAI, if you go and ask any LLM, where did Ram and Sita go? If you know the answer, then you know what is right, what is wrong. But for LLM, it takes a token, gives you the token back, and the understanding is there's Ram, there's Sita, and the question is, where did they go? So answer could be anything, because it is not has to be factually correct, because this is something which is generating text for you. And Ram and Sita can go to Thailand, can go to Bangkok, can go to Sri Lanka, can go to Germany, can go to any other country. So syntaxically, even contextually, the sentence is correct, but factually it might be wrong. So the misinformation part is going to be a lot more critical when we are dealing with this kind of GenAI solutions. Plagiarism. I mean, there are a lot of human cries there globally happening. What is right? What is not? Whose IP? Whose thought process? I mean, you look at me and then you learn, and then you are saying this is your own IP, this, that, and all. A lot of things are happening in that, and probably it is a matter of time we are going to settle down in some days. Quality control and reliability. Now, how do you know that these are actually reliable? I mean, still we have to cover some ground. These are evolving every day. Bias. Now, if you train with wrong data, eventually you will end up with wrong biases also. See, for example, if you take any movie review, only the folks, they watch the movie, they give the review. It is not a global opinion or you get some. So this data are skipped to some side. Now, there's very famous, I'm not sure how many of you know the Book of Why by Julia Pearl. So if you go through that book, there are very interesting analyses are there where how to look at data with bias, without bias and all. Now, generating sensitive information, data leaks, biased and discriminatory system development, compromised human decision. I'm not sure how many of you know this fiasco which happened in US. There was a chatbot called T, and that chatbot was very successful in China, but not in US, because the kind of data which was used in China was pretty neutral, pretty decent. I would say clean data. But when the data, when Twitter data was used for this particular chatbot, the data was all over. The data was not clean. The data never had the right position, and hence he was misbehaving. A lot of stuff happened because of that. Open internet use case and some then your copyrights, which we all know. If ChatGPT is generating a story, who is actually owner of that? I mean, there are multiple definitions, but all that I can see there are globally more than 130 copyright laws are there. So which country law is going to satisfy? I'm not sure. I'm not a law expert. Tech debt. Now, this is a huge challenge we have within India, outside India, and many countries. People are not on the same page. Data storage. Now, today, because of usage of LLM, huge data storage are required. Now, how we going to manage that data? Remember, data can't move. Application has to move. Impersonation. Now, there are a lot of deep fakes are happening globally. People are impersonating somebody else. There are cases where not 1, 2, 3, the whole boardroom are getting generated using deep fake, and they are defrauding users. These are very complex attack patterns that now we see. Now, what are the aspects of GenAI that we have to consider before we trust these solutions for us? So, if I just move to the trust part, we have to look at it RRR, not the famous movie. Is it reliable? Is it resilient? Is it responsive? Now, when I say reliable, we have to look at different aspects: robust, accountable, monitored, transparent, explainable. Is your safe, secure, private, effective, adaptive, and responsible is your. It has to be fair, it has to be ethical, it has to be inclusive, sustainable, and purposeful. Now, these are the core pillars, core concepts, core tenets of GenAI trust. Now, anything that, remember one thing, these solutions are advising you. I mean, till yesterday, Google was advising us, and Google was crowdsourced. Before that, we used to take suggestions from our parents, grandparents, friends, elders, and all that. Today, we are going to a solution which we don't understand. And if these fundamental things are not there, probably that is not the right place for us to seek the solution. Now, moving on from here, I'm not double click on some of these aspects which are more of a LLM development requirements, how we do certain things. So I'm just moving on to the LLMs themselves. Now, these are very popular ones: GPT, Gemini, Palm, Llama, Cloudy. Now, Gaudi also is coming into picture. Then Mistral is there. That a lot of LLMs are coming. Some are big, some are small. SLMs are there, LLMs are there, foundation models are there. There are multiple things. This space is, I mean, every day you get some other new LLM in the market. I mean, if you look at Hugging Face has got 400K models, 400,000 models. I mean, I'm not joking. How do you understand what model is doing what? Every day some new updates are there. I mean, this space is very complex and it is moving pretty fast. Now, I remember one of the statements from Dr. Fairley. I'm sure some of you know her, known as mother of computer vision. Fairley says back into 2010, before computer vision came into prominence, they used to take months' time to process a couple of thousand pictures. But today, it is a matter of minutes. That's all you take to process probably 100 pictures. And that is the speed that we are looking. Now, there's another famous quote from Phil. A couple of 3-4 years ago, probably she asked a couple of our PhD students, can we write something and generate picture? Because back then, they used to take the picture and generate the description. And the common answer from everyone was that, no, it is not possible. But today, you can write and generate picture. Diffusion models are very powerful. You can even write and generate 3D pictures. Your spatial computing is now a big time. So there are a lot of things which was not possible yesterday are actually possible today. A lot of things are changing. With all this, we have to have our own viewpoint, how we are going to manage all this, how we are going to secure all this, how we are going to look at the infrastructure, and what are the other foundational issues that are going to come. Now, doing a double click on some of these things. Let's go to the next slide. Now, should you run LLMs on the cloud, on-prem? There's no right or wrong answer. Now, today, we only talk about ChatGPT as our reference LLM model. But let's say some of you, either in your universities or for your research, want to look how you are going to approach it. Are you going to go to OpenAI and take a subscription of a model and start working? Or you're going to hug and face, download the model, start working on it. Now, both the approach, pros and cons are there. Right? So you have to look at, I'm not suggesting any one of them, but here is the fundamental principle that we look at. If you are doing a POC, feel free to use Azure OpenAI, AWS Bedrock, or for that matter, Google Workbench, or even go to OpenAI, pick some of those models, and so on and so forth. Now, if you want to scale up and run, there are NVIDIA boxes, there are Intel boxes, which are pretty powerful. You have complete control of what you're doing, and you'll be able to scale it up as and when you want. And it's going to be perfectly under your control. And it all depends what you want to do, how you want to do. But then you need data centers. So this discussion between cloud and on-prem is going on for the last 30 years. And with LLMs coming in, probably this is getting more intense now. So when you talk to somebody, please remember that the cloud is not the only option available. You can actually run LLMs on the hardware also. Probably soon we are going to get offline LLMs also, small LLMs for offline. What is going to happen? Your laptops, your desktops are going to be there with LLM enabled chip. And you can do a lot more than what it is doing today. So that's the future. So this epic battle will continue, and the devices are going to be much more powerful and strong than what we have today. I mean, today, smartphones are as good as your laptops. I don't understand why we are not inventing some new form factor, but probably soon we'll see something. Moving on from this epic battle to deployment stack. Now, when we talk about LLM, we talk about only LLM deployment. But if you double click, there are multiple types of LLMs are there. When you create from a developer's point of view, there are multiple types of accesses, multiple types of applications are possible. Now, simple format is you just use API and start accessing the existing model. It is as good as using the API to call GPT 3.5 or 4.0 and start accessing. Then you have your licensed models. You have it on OpenAI, Azure, AWS, multiple places these are there. Then you have your pre-trained models. So basically, the pre-trained models are quite a lot popular than others. Now, some of you, if you know how to pre-train the models, your RAG is coming up in a big way. So efficiency of these models are improving day by day by using RAG. And RAG method is almost as old as your GPUs. So pre-trained, fine-tuned models using RAG for retraining some of the models are going to be there in customer space. And then finally, your custom model where you build everything from scratch using vector, using function and all that for your custom models. Now, most of the organizations, we don't need a custom model unless you are Stanford or somebody else. Very little use cases, probably very cosmetic use cases are going to be there for public. But what we're going to do is the middle three layer we're going to play. We're going to license some models, start working on them, or we're going to use pre-train or fine-tune models in our ecosystem. Now, based on that, you have to figure out what is your security strategy, what is your deployment strategy, what is your data strategy, and then you have to figure out what underlying infrastructure is required to support these LLMs. Now, let's do a double click on different layers. Now, if you look at the key ingredients to secure, see your GenAI ecosystem is going to be your use cases, LLMs and MLOps. So how do you secure that? What is required to secure your use cases? What is required to secure a LLM? What is going to be there your strategy to secure the pipeline, that's your MLOps. Now, there are multiple things are possible. Deploy, run, develop. If it is not there with you, then probably it's not something we can do, but we have to validate. Build, deploy, run stage. What is possible, what is not possible. Now, if you see the data ecosystem, what kind of data we are going to use? What is the source of the data? What's the preparation of the data? What kind of security is required to maintain the data? Because that data is the new oil, and data is the new money, or data is the new dollar. So whatever is that, end of the day, you need to secure the data before going to LLM and after coming to LLM. Once you train the LLM with certain data which is personal or which is not proprietary, if you want to do the unlearning part, that's going to be tedious because you need another data set which is going to offset that learning, and that process is not going to be that easy. For example, let's say you have a model where you have fed a lot of stories about Harry Potter, and some other stories are also there. Globally, there are different story databases out there. And then let's say you don't want the model to talk about Harry Potter at all, but you have already trained. So you have to create whole lot of data around not having Harry Potter, and then you feed that back with the RAG to the model, so that the model unlearns what was there earlier. It is going to be complicated. So you have to look at security, and also you have to look at privacy, because globally a lot of things are coming up now from a privacy standpoint. As I said earlier, infrastructure. You need compute, you need GPU, you need network, you need data platform. Now, like on-prem, whether you want to cloud, whether you want to have hybrid, it is up to the organization, up to the individual, up to the institution, how to look at some of these options. And then your strategy, whether you want to have Kubernetes, whether you want to have data persistency, you want to have multi-tenancy, how you are going to have the GPU resourcing, that's your strategy. Because remember one thing, cost is not going to be that kind on you when you are using LLMs in large scale. It requires a lot of energy, it requires a lot of space, and hence it burns a lot of money as well. So if you are designing something, you need to be extremely careful what resources and which way you are going to use. Now, let's look at some of the security aspects of it. First, I would like to start with a very simple concept. Now, why this particular line here, LLM in current form are stateless? See, I see personally, I have seen in many places the simple question: whatever I type in ChatGPT, ChatGPT actually takes it back for learning, which is absolutely baseless. The models are actually stateless. You cannot train the model from front end. Just imagine if this is possible. By now, we would have given tons of data to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT would have gone crazy. That is not happening. So the fear that people have in mind, or that anxiety that people have, whatever I give to ChatGPT, ChatGPT takes it back, is that actually not right. I mean, I have seen many people talking about it. Many people say, okay, whatever you type, any sensitive data you type, it takes it back. But that's not the reality. So please understand, ChatGPT is not a LLM. It is chat is the application and GPT is the backend LLM which is supporting. The chat is the interface which retains your chat logs for some time, probably 7 days, 10 days, 3 days, based on the configuration or whatever you need. So basically the models are stateless. If you want to feed the data, it has to be from the admin interface, from the backend, with proper programming, with proper knowledge, database, everything is required. But one simple thing, if somebody is telling you that whatever you type on ChatGPT and it takes it, please tell them that's not right. This is one simple message that you wanted to write. Now, moving to a little more complex bit of attacks and all that when it comes to GenAI. See, GenAI is predominantly, there are two types of attacks are possible. How you interact and how you train. Now, the only option that we have to interact is your prompting. So the prompt can be compromised. So prompt injection, prompt hijack, prompt poisoning, multiple ways are there. People are going to manipulate the input and output channel that you're prompting when you are interacting with a LLM. Now, during training, there are multiple things possible during training also. Now, poisoning of data, wrong data, biased data, downloading of the data. See, sometimes we have seen models have been compromised and people could download what is there behind the model. That is also another possibility. So there are complex attack vectors are now coming. There are, see, the bad guys, they know better than us how to use these models. So there are a lot of things that is actually possible today. And another thing we have to remember is use AI to attack certain systems. So that is another aspect of security that we have to remember, and that is more convenient. I'm just giving you a simple example. Let's say I want a code to write a malware. Today, I need to learn certain language. I need to figure out how it is working, this, that, and all. Today, I can go, there are GPTs available, there are models available that train on my codes. Just to go and type, I need a code to put a rootkit into a system. And you have the code. That's all. You know how to execute it and you are done. You don't have to go through the learning process of 3 months, 6 months, 7 months, and all that. Let's say you want to entice somebody by writing an email. Today, you need good English knowledge, fair amount of knowledge to write that kind of email so that somebody is going to trust you. Go to ChatGPT, Gemini, or some of the standard solution and say, okay, I want to entice somebody by writing so and so. And it does matter. 30 seconds, you have it in front of you. You want to change it, you can change it. You want to personalize it, you can personalize it. Just like that, you can use it and send that mail to somebody. So this kind of usage are actually going. Now, to control all this, I mean, see, everything is not bad. As a professional, there are multiple things also we can we prevent all this? Yeah, we can prevent all this. Not up to 100%, but up to 90% also we can prevent. How to do that? Now, there are different auditing approaches out there. So in my work, we call them LLM audits. Now, there are model audits, there are application audits, there are governance audits. Now, application audits, which are standard application security, governance audits are standard governance, but the middle layer, which is very specific for the models. What kind of security, what kind of privacy, fairness, accountability, blah, blah, everything comes into this model audit. So this is also evolving. Now, a lot of organizations are now suggesting what should be the audit pattern. ISO has got a standard 42001 to certify some of these GenAI solutions also. Some of this NIST, then you have OIS. So these folks are also working on different things. So these are a few things what we have to remember, how you could actually have a system to audit it, even if you are doing it in your internal environment or university or institution. Ensure that there's a checklist, there's somebody responsible for audit, there is a verification mechanism, and there is a governance mechanism. Now, moving to the next bigger thing, which we call it as responsible AI. Now, when we are saying responsible AI, basically end-to-end the AI usage or the GenAI usage, what we are doing, it has to be governed in a responsible way. See, internet till date we struggle to secure it. I mean, you just can't plug your system to internet and start using it. Internet was never designed with security. I mean, for internet, by internet and all that, if you see, you just can't connect your laptop to internet without having guidance. You just can't access internet by trusting what is happening on it. You can't trust that everything out there on internet is actually safe, right? See, in actual world, there's nothing called absolute privacy. But in internet world, your anonymity is so common. Nobody can know who you are and from where you are coming. Not your IP. There are a lot of things the way masking can be done. It is a very complex concept. So when we deviate from real world to real world, and we kill the concept of identity, it is very, very complex. I mean, there are countries they talk about privacy, but please remember in real world, there's nothing called absolute privacy. If you are absolute privacy focused person, it is very difficult to survive in the world. But when we are talking about internet world, then we talk a lot on absolute privacy. And that is why it is very difficult for controlling some of these threats also. So how do you manage responsible AI within the organization, within the institution, security, privacy, fairness, reliability, safety, transparent, explainable. Explainable is actually getting more prominence now. A lot of LLMs, a lot of companies are talking about whatever we are getting out of GPT or GPT-like solutions. Is it going to explain us from where it is taking the token, from where it is getting the data? See, for me, security is not only what I type into GPT. For me, it is also the suggestion what it is giving me. That also has to be safe. See, end of the day, we are family members, we are responsible citizens, and we are following the text. Now, if the GPT is hallucinating, if the GPT is not giving the right context, right? I mean, see, if you're going to ask the GPT what to do with a chair and a rope, one suggestion, possible suggestion is going to be you can hang yourself. But that doesn't mean that I have to follow that. But then I have to restrict it. I should not get that kind of recommendation because I'm not comfortable if that recommendation is coming to some of my younger kids. So how do you control that? So it is not only what, I mean, you are seeking. See, there's nothing wrong in seeking options with chair and rope. But it is absolutely wrong for GPT to tell me you can hang yourself. So how do you control that? It is not what is the input. It is how, what exactly is the context of the output. So token in, token out needs to be safeguarded, needs to be validated, it has to be done with the proper care. Then there are global standards, global frameworks are there, ISO, NIST, NISA, OAS. So a lot of new frameworks are coming in. So essentially, the summary of this entire session is, as and when we are getting into GPTs, diffusion models, AI, GenAI, we need to have a strategy. We need to have a very clear object-driven security and privacy plan before it is truly. Probably with that, I'll take a pause. If any questions, I'm happy to discuss. You can type the question also. I'm happy to take it from chat window.
Yes, James, any questions from your side?
Yes, sir. Hi, sir. Thank you for the presentation. It was quite good. I have one question, sir. You said LMN are stateless. Can you please clarify on that? In what context you said that?
See, if you look at stateful and stateless, these are two different concepts. Now, when I say LLMs are stateless, any of these standard LLMs which are available there in the market, which you are consuming, for example, you are consuming Gemini or you are consuming chats, whatever you are typing, whatever you are keying in, the information is not going to them. They don't maintain the state, bidirectional state when you are talking to them. So there's a question, there's an answer. They only look at your question and give the answer. They don't take the question with them. So that's why I said it is stateless.
But they have, a window of, they had tokens, let's say 1 million tokens. So they retain some kind of history, the previous history. So in that duration, if the context window is same, they do retain a certain, our previous, a chatbot conversation. So is it entirely stateless, or it is limited by the number of tokens?
So there are multiple concepts that you need to understand here. So
Right.
if I take a question, now there is an interface, right, where you are typing the question. Now that application, that question is going to interface is going to divide it into tokens and pass that token to the LLM. Now for LLM, there's a couple of tokens, 3, 4 tokens or 5 tokens, right? So for example, if you want to ask, is it going to rain tomorrow? Now there's some 3, 4 words probably is going to divide it into number of tokens, not necessarily the same number of words are converted to tokens. There's a translation, there's a calculation on it. Now this question is there in the interface. It is not going to the now the interface. You can design the interface. You can store it for 1 day. You can store it for 30 minutes. You can store it for 30 seconds, or you can store it for 10 days. For example, ChatGPT, it is a complete application. Now the interface of ChatGPT is actually storing that question for you, the session for you. Now if you go and right click and delete the session, then it is clean. There's nothing there on that session. But none of this information is going to actually GPT 3.5, not even a single byte. So just imagine if that was the possibility that you could train the GPT on the front end. I mean, the number of students that you are, you can go and teach the LLM whatever you want from the front end itself. There's no sanity of having LLM and giving answer to the world, right? So absolutely stateless, nothing goes in from the front end. There's a way programmatically we can do it, but not from the front
Right.
end.
See, I also develop GenAI applications, and also, sir, let's say when we, create a prompt. So in that, we tell the, ChatGPT to act in certain way, like act as a code interpreter, like, or as a PHP developer, and any subsequent question that we ask, it reply in that context only. So if it is stateless, then how it is assuming that it has to act as a PHP developer? It is retaining that memory, all right? Then only it is able to answer.
So again, when you are opening the session,
Right.
let's say I'm just giving another example.
Mm-hmm.
You tell ChatGPT, okay, I have 500 rupees.
Right.
Now, the token and the session which goes in that session, the token remembers that there is 500 rupees. And then you subsequently ask the question, how I'm going to spend this 500 rupees in next 24 hours. There's a plan in front of you, right? Now, if I go and from a different interface, ask GPT, what can I do with 500 rupees? What games are giving me? The LLM is helpless. There is no context available from your session to my session.
Right.
So for your session, that session could be what is available is actually holding it for you. So what happens is it is a complete replay every time. For you, it is a conversation, but for the GPT model, it is a replay every time. So first question goes back, the answer comes. When you submit the second question, it is first question, response, and the second question. Then you ask the third question. Then the LLM, the interface again replays first question, answer, second question, answer, third question. So every time it is an iterative loop which goes back to the LLM. You believe that it is actually storing, but it is not storing. It is actually
Right.
the interface is playing that part.
Okay, sir. And another question, it's a general question. You said, sir, no, LLM or AI, generative AI is going to contribute around 350 billion to 450 billion something, right, to the Indian economy. But as we can see that for the hardware and the software is controlled by the Western world, right, sir? So how much is in that amount is going to Indian economy rather than going to the Western world? Because ultimately, Open AI or in the hardware, NVIDIA controls the GPUs. So how much in the Indian economy it's going to be added, and also compared with what it is going to be it's also going to disrupt jobs, discrete jobs, and so it's also going to cause economical loss. So compare with that, is it going to be a positive in the net economy or a loss in the net economy?
So James, a very good question. You asked so many things together. So
Right.
I'll take it in pieces. First, are we going to be beneficial from a economy point of view? The answer is absolutely yes. And I mentioned that we missed the internet wave. Today, the hardware could be developed by somebody else. The software could have been developed by somebody else, or you are the brain. Today, the kind of knowledge base that we have in India, so just FYI, GitHub has got maximum users from India globally. So we have developers based out of India.
Right.
In global context, India is known as the powerhouse of AI. Right? And with that, eventually you will see a lot of economy coming back to India. A lot of application, a lot of today India is the third largest startup ecosystem. So it is no more 10th or 11th in the world. We are going there. Right? So the India has already started. You McKinsey reports, EY reports, some of the reports, I'm not sure if you are there and back to studying. But if you see some of the work that is happening out of India, I'm not sure if you know there is a company called Tanumanasa, right? Tanumanasa. There is a lot of stuff in India. You see, a lot of startups, AI startups are run by Indians. There's a lot of work which is happening. I'm sure if you know recent contribution by India to GPT 4.0, right? Islam also confirmed. There are a lot of things which are happening. See, forget about only the knowledge base. The amount of data center that India is going to produce in next, because see, all these are power hungry, data hungry. You need to store that. See, India can develop that box, but that box is going to be deployed in India. Indian engineers are going to work, and there is going to be a battery of data center across India. And see, if you see Bhubaneswar, how many data centers are going to be there in Bhubaneswar today? If there's a 10, probably another 2 years, you're going to 100 data centers. Now, if you see Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, the data centers are going to be flooded because you need more compute, more storage. Now, all that is going to come back to Indian economy. And that is where we're putting a lot of money on. Now, that's your first part of the question. Second part of the question, with all this, are we going to lose jobs also? See, I'll put it in this way. When wheel innovation happened, obviously donkeys lost the world. So before that, we used to use donkeys, right? Today, we don't use donkeys.
Right.
Eventually, still, horse is there, right? So
maybe we have become the donkeys.
No, see, that's a bad example, I know. But why I'm saying that is, when computer came, and you just imagine you are a typewriter user, and you come back and say, no, I don't want to upgrade myself to a computer. I would live with my typewriter happily. I mean, feel free to do it. It's your world. People are going to move on. So what we need is we need to upskill ourselves.
Right.
If you are ready to upskill, you have enough opportunity. Opportunity is going to be a lot more than what was there yesterday. See, the number of typewriter and number of computer, if you compare, we are talking about probably 100 or 1,000 time multiplication in just 1 year with computer.
Right, sir.
Completely change. So we are going to need a single job. But if you feel that I'm not going to change myself, I'm going to continue the way I was doing 10 years ago, then you're obviously going to be out of the way.
Sir, on top of the upscaling that you said earlier, what happened that the learning curve were, in the similar. Let's say you take 5 years to learn computers, 2 years to learn typewriters, but the learning speed of LLMs are in days with the amount of GPUs they have. So they are advancing at much further rate than as a human speed, because human takes years to learn and match the speed. But LLM are going in a what we call exponential rate. So we are not going to match the rate the LLM is advancing. Humans will always be in a step back. We take years to graduate, 4 years, 5 years, and that time LLMs what we learn is outdated. So earlier, it's okay. We can become a driver. We can become a that. But whatever we are going to learn in 4 years period of time, it's going to become outdated. So how humans are going to match that? And just recently, so a few months back, I read that a company has replaced all its workforce, a telecaller or something, by an AI agent. 80% of the workforce has been replaced. So how they are going to match it when the owner just said that it cost me $100 to repair all the workforce. So when they economics, So in the CEO, they just want, in the monetarily, they
got your context. Got your
right.
context. See, I'll give you another example.
Mhm.
See, the fear of losing out that economy, right? Let's see another contextual example. I'm sure you drive, right? A two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, whatever. If you want to go to a place which you don't know,
Mhm.
today what you do? You simply open Google Map and start searching the location and follow instructions.
Right, sir.
When Google Map was not there,
Mhm.
we still used to travel. So in the process, what we did, we automated a task. When calculator was not there, do you think university exam was tougher? No, it was the same, right? You used to do maths without using calculator.
Right.
But does that mean calculator has taken away maths from us? The answer is no. It has only helped you to remember. Calculator is much faster than probably some other things. In engineering stream, we are using calculator for ages now, right? Which is beyond our ability. Now, see, some of those things are going to transform, and we need to live with the transformation, right? It is not going to be the same what it used to happen earlier, right? You have to learn calculator if you want to do engineering today. You can't go back and say, oh, my father never used a calculator during his engineering, and hence I'm not going to use it. Feel free, go out of the engineering college, because your professor will not accept that logical theory. Your questions are going to be seeing what is there for everybody else. Right. So this is the evolution. All of us, we have to upskill ourselves. Right. Now, some probably they will not be able to catch up. But then what happens is, today, there's a lot of applied economy which is there in the market. Right. See, I'm just giving another example. All these delivery agents, Swiggy, Zomato, Amazon, Flipkart, this, that, and all. What is the technology? There's a map, there is a to destination, there's a from destination. Right? Now the guy picks from point A, follows the map, goes to point B, and then the supply chain which is back. This entire economy was not there earlier. Right? Just because internet came up, Google Maps started opening up, right? And then the e-commerce started taking the prominence. You have a huge economy worldwide today where people come pick something and deliver somewhere else. Right? So the application of technology also is going to be there. More and more people are going to live in that space, not in this space. Right? The evolution of technology in different ways. The number of people had typewriter, they only used to type, nothing else. But when computer came, we do so many things. You want to compose song, you can do it. Not there with typewriter. So when technology changes, it amplifies the job opportunities also. It never reduces. Right? See, you might not be there in driving LLM, but you might be there somewhere LLM is used, right? Or LLM is actively consuming something. So a lot of new things are going to come up. Right? Look at the gaming industry. Now, a lot of new games are going to come up. A lot of new movies are going to come up. A lot of new requirements are going to come up. So we'll have enough opportunity to work. It is a myth that the technology is going to kill somebody. Oh yes, technology is going to kill some things, but what it's going to give you is much more, much better than what we had yesterday.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir, for the clarification.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other question?
Thank you very much, sir. But sir, I want that so in our NC or BTech, they have some internship programs are there. So how the latest technology like your quantum computing and GenAI, and they can start the project on that, and they'll get some knowledge so that after completion of that one, as you know, the market is up and down, so they can have more chance to get a job. Like your in not only LLM we are using GenAI, so how we can use that one in security also to generate or detect this malware detection or generate so many malware like that things you can, or in banking domain or financial domain, how they can apply and how to motivate the students to go for GenAI, because they don't know the buzzword that GenAI is there, that will be for the next 5 to 6 years, but they don't know how to start, how small project or mini projects can be assigned, and all they have don't have the GPU also available with them. So how, so like that means definitely I'll like to.
So the answer here is we have to have a public-private kind of a partnership in many such places. It's a valid question that you made. They might not have access to GPU, they might not have access to the data what is required, but somewhere we also need government support to fund some of these researches. to enable the skilling and reskilling, and the academia also has to encourage the modern technologies. Now, when you say malware analysis, now malware analysis probably on a lighter note, it is going to be completely automated. And I am privy to some of the research projects that they're mandated of some of the advanced organizations. I mean, they're completely into automation. So how we do certain type of automation? I mean, our focus should be there to produce good quality engineers. Forget about data science, forget about anything else. If the core is very strong, and unfortunately, which I see we are not doing that great, right? We are producing talent, but somewhere we are trying to compromise that with adjacent skills than the core skills, right? Now, what I see is in this field properly, that is AI or GenAI or some of the core engineering skills required. I mean, if you are a core engineer and you understand your subject matter, all these adjacencies can be trained by companies. But if it is other way around, this is going to be a lot more difficult because as James was asking the question, these are going to be a lot faster. So whatever you learn today, probably after 6 months, is not going to be in use. What is going to be in use is your core brain, your core engineering subject, right? Maths, physics, science. These are going to be your STEM is going to be your core. So somebody made this statement: we need good engineers. We don't need good data scientists. We will convert them to data scientists.